5 tips on how to fix your TEEP. So I'll pretty much probably say this when it comes to any striking video that I do. Pretty much, it's hard to say there's a wrong way to do anything because you've all seen crazy street fights on YouTube and stupid things land, people get knocked out. So it's really hard to say that one thing's wrong. I mean, we just saw recently Alex Pereira and Adesanya fight. This is probably second time in the UFC. Me and my buddy were talking about it the week before. We're like, bruh, how is Izzy not getting him? He's punching him with his chin up, hands down. I mean, he's throwing power, but I'm like, how is he not catching him? His chin is up, hands are down. Second one, Izzy kind of fixed that mistake. He knew that hands were down. He threw that overhand right twice, 2 in a row, dropped him. It was game over. It's gonna be hard for me to say like, oh, this is wrong, this is right for striking. It's a little tighter, I'd say, in grappling, but when it comes to striking, I mean, anything kind of goes. If it lands, it lands. But this is pretty much just for my beginners, for my students. If you want to learn the way I teach things, I want to teach it with a little bit of finesse. You know, I want it to look good, okay, and it to be correct. You want it to be structurally sound, okay, so you can deliver whatever shot that we're throwing. Okay, so tip number 1. Sorry, that was kind of long. But tip number 1 is to stretch, especially before you start doing any type of lower extremity kicks, stuff like that. Okay, so if you see people with the really nice TEEPs, they're kind of flexible, not overly flexible, but your hammies are gonna have to be pretty loose to land a nice effective TEEP. Okay, so run a stretching routine before you do this. There's like a billion on YouTube. I might upload a stretching routine, just the basic one that I do. Just let me know if you want to see that. But pretty much number 1 is to stretch. 2, okay, we're actually getting into some technique now. So the number 1 thing I see is people throwing lazy TEEPs. Okay, so there's a time and a place to throw a TEEP, like at the kneecap or at the thigh or something like that. But ideally, the way I like to throw it is at least hip height for you. So what does that mean? That means like that knee's gonna come out nice and straight. Okay, you shouldn't. I usually don't TEEP any lower than this, straight. Okay, because you're lining your body up nice to really spear somebody with the TEEP. That's what we're doing. There's you know, different ways on to throw it. Some people throw it flush. Okay, it's really a push. Okay, but the next tip number 3 is gonna be to stab. Okay, so when I stab, I'm using the ball of my foot. Okay, so it kind of feels weird if you don't know what I'm talking about. This is what I want you to do. Come up on the tippy toes. Okay, just like this, ballerina feet. Not really, but kind of. And I just want you to stomp. Okay, or on the mat. It's pretty soft. Okay, if you're first starting out, it might be a little uncomfortable, but this is the feeling that you should get from the TEEP. Okay, I want to be landing with that small part of the foot, just the ball. There's one guy I sparred a long time ago, and he had a killer TEEP. You know, we were going pretty light, but I really couldn't even get in on the guy because his TEEP was just like a laser, and it was like boom, piercing. Every time I come in, boom, I need a TEEP. And I was like, dang, that's a nice TEEP. So kind of picked it up from him. I don't know his name, but shout out to him. Okay, so putting those together, tips 2 and 3. Okay, the knee. Okay, at least hip height. Okay, that's a good indicator. Okay, and then I'm looking to stab. Okay, so not my whole foot. Sometimes I'll do that, but I want to really land this TEEP. I want to hit him with the ball, so it's more of a concentrated blow. Tip number 4 would be to hinge. A lot of people I see, they're really stiff on this back leg. Okay, if this back leg is straight, it's going to be hard to TEEP here because if it's straight, I mean the bag has a little bit of give. But if I'm working with somebody, or say I'm just a little bit closer on the bag, I'm gonna get pushed back. But if I have a little bit of bend in this base leg, okay, it's gonna help me keep more force coming back. Okay, Because if this dude's solid and you're kicking him, when you're straight, you're gonna bounce off. Okay, so you're gonna use that little, give yourself a little spring as you go, okay? It doesn't want to be all the way straight, okay? So that is my hinge, okay? So it's gonna look funny, but this is what I'm doing. Okay, my knees are gonna come over my toes. If you guys watch any of the knees over toes guy, kind of like a VMO squat a little bit. You're just kind of hinging like this. Okay, hips going forward. This motion is pretty important. Okay, so I'm not standing up straight, hinging. Let yourself relax. Keep your chin tucked when you go for this. Okay, so nice and tight. Boom, boom, boom. At the very end, hit the hinge. Okay, the very end. Okay, boom. Also with the hand, if you're wondering what to do, if you're worried about it, you could keep your hands up. But to really get that hinge engaged, you're gonna throw the same side that you're teeping with back. You're gonna swing it, and that's gonna kind of counterbalance you. Okay? Throw this, okay? Boom. I've extended the very end. Another drill just to do is just try to teep it, boom, and try to stay up. Okay? Work your teeps from there. Okay, you can teep, put it right back, boom, right into my roundhouse. Okay? It's another thing you can do just to work on coordination, timing. Excellent stuff. Okay, so now we're gonna put 2, 3, and 4 together by using some props. Bang, props. Okay, so what I got here is a little stool, a broken chair, pretty much, and a bucket. Okay, so when I work this teep, typically won't do this in a Muay Thai class. You're not gonna have time to do this for 30 people. But for my privates, this is something I'll show if they're struggling with it. Okay, so the leg I'm teeping with, putting my front left leg in here, my leg is in the bucket. Okay, so tip number 2 is bringing the knee at least knee height. Okay, boom, I'm tucking it in. If you can, the more you tuck this thing, the more you can launch it. Okay, so literally bringing your leg out of the bucket. I know it was crazy, but this will help you. Okay, so in your stance, comes up. Okay, and now this, the chair is gonna help me with the distance. Okay, especially if it had a back on it, but it'll still work. Okay, it's gonna help me from being lazy instead of from seating like this. Look, I hit the chair. You don't want that. Okay, nice and balanced. The leg comes up. You wanna, as I make contact with the bag, that's when you hinge forward. Okay, back in the bucket. Okay, boom, boom, boom. Back in the bucket. Okay, so last tip is just to slow down and let your body go through the motion. Okay, it's gonna take some time to really get that hinge down. That's probably the hardest part I see with people. They should just see this and they think it's like a snap kick. Okay, this is different from like a karate kung fu snap kick. That's not what it is. This is like a jabbing push kick. Okay, so in here you can start from your little Muay Thai march. This is an easy way to get your rhythm going. Okay, without having too much of a tail. Okay, and when I'm ready to go, knee comes up. Boom. Okay, I'm looking to stab. Okay, remember if you feel like you're landing weird, if my heel's landing, there's a time where I want the heel to land, but for the teep, let's go for the ball. Okay, it's gonna give you a little bit more range too, especially if the guy's bigger than you. This is gonna help you land. Okay, so really work on hitting the step. Okay, okay, and I'm flashing them back. A little bit of a lean, a little bit of a hinge at the very end. Keep the chin down. Try not to do that. Stay tight, stay tight. Okay, keep coming back. And from there, you've probably seen the marching drill from there. Okay, so start up with the rear leg. Okay, this is gonna help you get the rhythm. Okay, march, rear teep, boom, back, back, forward. Okay, another tip is just when I kick, the same thing. I don't want my foot straight onto the bag, right? Because then the trajectory of my foot is kind of going up instead of across. Same thing when I go for this. Okay, so my base leg, I want it to bend, right? Okay, like what we did. keep your butt back. You want to hide it, kind of. So we're here. He thinks that there's more range than there is. Okay, I can TEEP him from here. Okay, but if I'm standing straight like this, look at my hips. It's gonna be hard unless you're really flexible to TEEP. And I'm not really getting as much hip. This is more muscle and explosion. I want to be able to use mechanics because you're not always going to be fresh in there. Okay, you want to be able to fall back on your technique when you're tired. Okay, this is going to save you. Okay, so little march. TEEP, back, back, forward and a little bit out. TEEP, back, back, forward and a little bit out. Okay, and then focus on jabbing. Okay, so in the beginning it's okay. Go easy. Just get your foot at least hip height. Work that. Just get the footwork down. Okay? And then when you're ready to go, work on really stabbing that foot through. Get him off you. And let him in your bubble, boy. Get him off you. Okay? Forward and a little bit out. Okay, so 5 little tips to help you with the TEEP. I think that was a little long too, but it's okay. Saikou MMA.